Hey, y'all, YouTube. I'm just getting on here. It's been a while, a couple months. Just give you an update of a bunch of things that I've done. I've changed companies to a company out of Overland Park, Kansas, instead of Amarillo, Texas. They were really messing with my time, and I was only getting like 2 to 3 loads a week of what I was hauling, which was meat. You guys knew that. Anyhow, hello, hello, and hello. The I-70 Mad Hatter's coming at you. I've changed my name. You know that now. I've changed my name over to the I-70 Mad Hatter because I no longer live out on the I-5 corridor. And it's really sad too because I really loved it out there. But I've got some real concerns about what's going on out there. And if anybody doesn't know, you might want to start watching Dutch Sense, Earthquake Predictor, that the USGS, the Geology Society, is starting to pay attention to him. He's going to start teaching them his method of how to predict earthquakes, or at least get within 24 hours of an earthquake happening so you can not be afraid and be prepared. I'm also listening to a trucker coach. For us truckers out here, it's always good to know that we are in a trucker apocalypse or a trucking apocalypse where so a lot of large companies are going out of business right now. I'm really, really happy that I changed over and went to work for a smaller company. Most of my freight now is off the load boards, and I'm making pretty good money. I've got my own dispatcher. She does a great job. It's me and her husband and about 4 other truckers that are part of this small little company. And there's very low overhead. I'm driving another man's truck. He's a retired fella, and he's got 2 or 3 trucks that bring him in, you know, five, six, $700, $800 a week. That's my goal, is to have two, three, four, 5 trucks of my own and myself driving out there on the road. That's my goal. I'm gonna do it. You watch. In the meantime, I really do want to talk about Dutch Sense and Adapt 2030. Those two sites I watch and listen to a lot of. Guys, Dutch Sense I listen to because of earthquakes and volcanoes. He's on top of that stuff. Every couple of days he puts updates out there, and I'll talk him up a storm because I watched him predict those big earthquakes down in California here a few weeks ago. I promise. I made the decision. I'm going to start really, really working on making sure that I do a video at least every couple of days, just to catch you up with me. I want to thank all the new people that have come onto the stream. Well, I haven't got streams yet. That's 1,000 people to get a live stream, and I don't have any of that fancy software on my here phone. This little thing. Um, but I do want to make notice that there are people coming on and starting to join and be part of this little YouTube thing. I'm going to keep on going for it, and I'm going to share another video channel with you, marfoogle.tv and marfoogle.news. Marf, he's from the I-5 corridor. It's how I ran into him when I was living up there. I have to adjust my seat here. Oh, I love that thing. Marf is a good guy. He's a great guy. And I'm speaking to you through this microphone because it's noise canceling. You can't hear the truck running. And if you can, I'm sorry. Not my fault. It's the microphone's fault. But this microphone's supposed to be noise canceling. I know it's a great big thing hanging off my head, but who cares, right? I want to make sure you guys understand that we have to get prepared. Marv puts out a lot of news. His name's Adam. He used to live up in Linwood until a great, not a great big earthquake, but a 5 point something hit up there in Washington, not just a few miles from where I used to live, from where I used to work. Marf is a great guy. His name's Adam. He puts on a show late, late, late at night. He's got a fella that helps him out named Dex that's out on the East Coast that helps him produce it. He actually puts on a really good show. And some of you folks have actually come and joined this channel based upon Marf and the other things that I'm part of. But I'm going to redirect you guys back to Adapt 2030. If you haven't heard of it, I haven't heard Marv talk anything about Adapt 2030. Um, we have to start paying attention to that too, guys. That's what I believe is causing a lot of the earthquakes. We're in a different point in our space journey as planet Earth or spaceship Earth, if you want to call it that. We're going through an area where we're not nearly as protected by the sun and its shielding effects of its magnetic sphere, magnosphere, which is messing our magnetosphere up. That's what it is, magnetosphere. Listen to me, well educated, driving a truck, can't talk. Just know this one thing. I want you guys to know it's very, very important that you start paying attention to the weather and to the earth. Earth changes are happening all over the earth. That's Dutch sense. Adapt 2030's talked about the big shiny thing that's up there in the sky. I've seen traffic jams caused by that big shiny thing up in the sky. And people go, oh my gosh, what's that? It's the sun. It's not you. It's not the CO2 that you breathe out. It's the sun. The sun causes the climate change, not us. We're just tiny little. I mean, think about it. Your dog's infested with fleas. Does that change the way that the dog breathes? Well, it could if he's infested with the fleas and the fleas are infested with other critters. But we don't change what's going on this planet. I mean, one burp from a volcano and it puts more CO2 and other pollutants into the air. And one burp, one 24-hour burp from a volcano over in Japan can put more pollutants into the sky than what humans have done up for the last 150 years. Yeah. Dust, CO2, carbon monoxide, it can put out SO4, sulfates, all kinds of things into the atmosphere. And that has nothing to do with us. Anybody think about that? Besides all the water vapor that's in the sky, water causes more heating of the earth than anything else. But water also freezes this earth. And that's what Adapt 2030 is talking about. So, Marf, take a look at Adapt 2030. See if you can get David onto your show as an interview some night. Second thing I'd like to say, I'd really like to see Marf do an interview with dutchsense, and maybe do a teaching broadcast, like a webinar with dutchsense, so we can all learn how to look at the maps and see what's going on. But most of us just rely on dutchsense because he's got some good sense. On top of that, y'all, be prepared. Don't be afraid. No sense of being afraid. When you see a train coming down the tracks, that's your warning. You see that great big shiny bright light? That's a warning. When you hear the horn, you need to get off the tracks. If the train's coming, something's happening here. Get the hell off the tracks. We can't get off of this earth, but we can prepare for what's coming. A Dutch sense, he talks about earthquakes and volcanoes. Adapt 2030, he also talks about earthquakes and volcanoes and the sun, that we're in a grand solar minimum. And he believes that grand solar minimum, along with the magnetosphere of the sun, the magnetosphere of the earth getting weaker, which is caused by the sun, by the way, not us. He believes that's what's really causing the earthquakes and the volcanoes to start erupting, because of the outside cosmic rays and things coming in from the sun and all kinds of stuff that's heating up. Sorry, hold on a second. Just shut off the parking brake so you don't hear that beep, 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 beep. I'm not backing up anywhere. I'm just idling my truck a little higher than it's supposed to. Sorry, back to what I was saying. The cosmic rays coming in from the galaxy and all the other I can't even speak, stars and suns that are out there, causes our earth, the interior core of the earth and the mantle, to heat up. Because you excite something, it heats up. Just like when you put something in a microwave, You excite the molecules, you excite the water molecules inside the cells of whatever you're heating up, whether it be pasta or beef or chicken or whatever it is you put in the microwave. It's going to excite those cells and cause them to vibrate faster, which then releases heat. That's what the earth is doing. It's releasing heat. The planet and its tectonic plates are moving faster than they've moved in a long time, like a couple 300 years. And in fact, just 200, well, about 290 years ago was the last time we had a great big earthquake out on the West Coast. Now, listening to some of the things that I've listened to since I spoke to you last, has told me that the Native Americans out on the West Coast, which I got to know some of them pretty cool folks, like the Quinault tribes. When I was living out there, I had a neighbor that was a full-blooded Quinault. Beautiful family, gorgeous folks. But he told me stories about what they would do when they saw this time come around. It's what they called the awakening time, when people woke up because the energies changed so much. Everybody knew something was going on, and something was going to happen. And so all the elders and all the folks that were big time members of the tribe out there on the coast, especially in Washington, Oregon, and Northern California, where the subduction zone is, those natives would go out there and tie these great big canoes to the very top of trees, really high trees that were located close to the coast. And what would happen when they'd see the water go way out, they'd all get in the canoe. All the canoes that were tied to the tops of the trees. And the big wave would come in and they'd ride that canoe up to the top of that big wave, that tsunami, and they'd wait for it to go back out. Because they were prepared, you see. Preparedness. It's better than being afraid. It's better than being scared. I don't have a canoe to tie to the top of a tree to hold all my stuff. So I decided to move and come to the middle part of the United States, away from the tsunamis and things like that, high enough to where I'm not going to be trapped. Feel bad for the folks out there. But even Marf knows something is going on, and he's moving further interior. Marf, I would say if I was you, I'd move way past Enumclaw. Way out past Enumclaw and north of Mount Rainier, because I got a feeling that Mount Rainier is probably going to pop it. I've got that feeling. Not only the big earthquake, but when that big earthquake strikes, well, guess what? Mount Rainier tends to strike too, and it usually happens this way. Thousands of years, Mount Hood would pop, Mount St. Helens would pop, then Mount Rainier would pop. Well, Mount St. Helens has popped. Mount Hood's getting earthquakes, and Mount Rainier's getting earthquakes. So guys, that part of the country is going to be decimated. It might not be this year. Hell, it might not be next year, but it's going to get there. Go listen to adapt2030. He talks a lot about this. And dutchsense, he talks about those earthquakes around the volcanoes as well. So I've taken up 13 and a half minutes of your time. Well on my way to a 15-minute video. I want to shut the heck up and just talk about one more thing, trucking. I've been doing this truck driving gig for almost a year now. In fact, my 1-year medical is coming up. My exam's coming up. So I have to go in and get my blood pressure tests and, make sure I can still see out of my eyes and hear out of my ears, and I can lift things and do the stuff that they need me to do. But that's easy because I've been staying in pretty good dang shape. I mean, check the guns out. Maybe they're not so, they're kind of soft. I'm working on it. But know this. Out here in the truck driving world, if we would start banding together like we did way back in the 70s and 80s, I remember the great big convoy that went to Washington, D.C. to protest some of the regulations that they were putting out. And here they're getting ready to put out some more regulations to make being a trucker even harder. They're increasing our insurance rates. They're increasing the fuel rates. I mean, the rates for delivering anything is all the way back to 2016 now. And yet our fuel has almost went up by 50% compared to what it was in 2016. 50%. And people think that getting stuff out of those trains and getting them to the stores is cheap. No, it's not. Nope, it's not. Um, and I want to talk about this: the way that receivers treat us truckers. I know a lot of people with the receivers. The truckers come in, they got bad attitudes and things like this. I don't. I come in laughing and joking. It's happier than hell. I got up this morning, 4 o'clock. I was right in the door. Got unloaded within 20 minutes, and on my way to my next pickup. Picked up my next pickup. I wasn't supposed to be there till 2 o'clock this afternoon, and right now it's 10 to 1. So I got my next load, and I'm like, I'm only 3 hours away from a drop. I'm just gonna head right on over there and see if they'll pick it up. Didn't have an appointment until tomorrow morning at 0800. But I got lucky at the last place I was picking up because I wasn't supposed to be there till 2. Well, then that luck went south because I walked in and I was joking around with the guys behind the counter and one guy said, "No, I'm not gonna take your 11 pallets, 11 pallets into this the little grocery warehouse that they have until his boss lady came back over and told him to go ahead and take them." But she didn't. I'm sitting here laughing and joking with him, and all of a sudden it was like a shark swam over the reef. Big old teethy teeths. Oh shit! You could just feel the chill in the air, man. It was like, oh my god, I just walked into a blast freezer or something when she walked up. And he goes, "McCormick," that's all he said. He was looking at my papers, my delivery papers. "McCormick." She goes, "Oh no, that's not till 8 in the morning." Really? So I looked at her and said, "It's 11 pallets." No smiles. No, "I'm sorry, we just don't have the room for it." No, she just turned around. "I don't have the room." What do you think I did? I just smiled at her, told her, "Have a good day. I'm going to the Loves." So that's where I'm sitting now, down at the Loves, about 20 miles away. Sorry, my nose itched. Uh, We'll take a shower, do my daily routine, work out a little bit, walk around this place 4 or 5, 6 times because it's a pretty good sized place, and get me a little bit of exercise in, have me a little bit of a dinner. Yeah, I could have been home about an hour from now. I could have been home hanging out with my family, but I'm not. So I got to wait till 4 in the morning, and it's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I got to wait almost 20 hours to go unload 11 pallets. So all you truckers out there, if you're listening to this and you're starting to catch on to this, and now my face is itching. Jeez. If you're listening to this, and even if it's just one of you, or two of you, or three of you, guys, we have got to start sticking together. And if one of us tells the other ones, "Hey, don't drive for this broker," don't drive for that broker. You know how fast we can put people out of business? I mean, seriously, you know how fast we can put people out of business? And maybe some people get a clue that you don't treat people that way. If a man's joking and kind and jovial with you and being happy about doing what he's doing, pay it back. Pay it in return. Yeah, I'm talking to you shippers. I'm talking to you receivers. I'm talking to you brokers. And I'm also talking to you dispatchers. If a man's out here making money, don't treat him like a second-rate citizen because you don't know who you're dealing with. I will get people together. I will make it to where we never go to Rheingold or Reinhold or whatever the hell the name of that place is. Let me see here. Pardon me. Reinhardt in Lee's Summit, Missouri. Yeah, I'll never drive to deliver to that place ever again. If I see it come across my load board and I get a request from the shipper that they want me to come pick it up because they like the way I treat things, the way I'm there, get in, get out, move on. Yeah, I'm just gonna say you can't pay me enough. Nope. I want the receiver's job. And if two truckers stop delivering there, they ain't gonna notice. If all of us that have delivered to Reinhardt in Lee's Summit, Missouri, Reinhardt, Reinhart, Reinhardt, if all of us stop delivering to that company, they'll go out of business within 3 days. They'll have to lay everybody off. And from what I counted, just being there, there's two dudes sitting in the office. The chick, I can't stand her already. I don't want to deal with her in the morning. I'm gonna have to. And as soon as I get done dealing with her in the morning, guess who I'm calling? Her freaking boss. Because I don't want her to screw me up in the morning. So as soon as I get this delivered at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm calling her freaking boss. As soon as I got the papers in my hand to leave, I'm calling her freaking boss. I hope I wake his ass up out of bed. Because I'm going to explain to him exactly what I just said. All of us truckers, all of us that have ever even heard the name Reinhardt in Lee's Summit, Missouri. If you know truckers that are driving in Missouri, in and around Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska, all of us that would bring stuff to Reinhardt Groceries, it's a groceries logistics place. All of us, we just need to stop delivering to them. They'll shut the doors within 3 days. They'd have to lay everybody off. And if they didn't want to shut their doors in 3 days, they have to double our wages. I'm telling y'all right now, if we don't stick together, we'll fall apart together. So, with that being said, go listen to Dutch Sense. Go listen to Mr. marfoogle.tv, marfoogle.news, and go listen to adapt2030. Be prepared. Don't be afraid. Be prepared. Get yourself some food. And I'm going to leave you with this one thing. If you hear of a Category 7 volcano popping off, something like Mount Rainier, something big like, Mount Pinatubo or one of the big ones over there in the Philippines popping off, and it's a scale 7 on the volcano scale. You can look that stuff up. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's a scale 7. If you hear on the news that a scale 7 volcano popped off, go withdraw all the money that you have in your bank, all of it, and go buy as much food and water and anything it's going to. I mean, buy out the canned goods, guys. You'll be happy I told you this. Tell your kids the same thing, because maybe it don't happen in our lifetime. Maybe it happens in our kids' lifetime. You tell them, watch out for a size 7 volcano popping or larger. Go down, you buy all the food you can get. Be the most selfish bastard you can be and take it all, everything you can afford. Sell your car, because you're not going to need that car. It won't. Yeah. You're gonna need the food and the water though. And if you don't have some storage food, go get some. All right, 25 minutes. I'm done. Talk to you later. And until next time, folks, you know what I'm gonna say. You know what I'm gonna say. Keep your stick on the ice.